All right, so this is for EML for 4140 for heat transfer. This is optional, as I said in the email. Hopefully you received an email with the link to watch this video. Um, yeah, so today in class, I freaked out, which I regularly do, but in addition to being really nervous, the computer wasn't working very well, and it just threw me off, even again more than normal. So there were a few things that I didn't say that I want to say. But again, this is optional. If you want to turn this off, not watch anymore, it's fine, because this isn't really that important. So two things, actually three things. The first one, I typically say a little bit about me, and a lot of you know me already, but it doesn't matter. I did my undergrad in Puerto Rico, and I graduated in 06. Yeah, so 14 years ago. Then I did my master's at Stanford, and I graduated in 08. And then I worked for 4 years, and then I decided to get my PhD. So I came here to UF. I got my PhD here, graduated in 2017. Just parenthesis here. I just want to say that sometimes I'll post some videos here, and they will be like demonstrations or just optional videos. If it's something that's mandatory, because for example I missed class and I want to give you an additional example, then I'll let you know. All right, so continuing. Then I did my PhD at UF, and then I've been teaching here for about, well, in May it'll be 3 years. So I've been teaching mostly thermal. Why do I say mostly? Only. So, I've gotten decent at it. Like, I kind of know what to expect about, like the background of the students and anything that I need to spend more time with or less time with. But when it comes to heat transfer, I'm not trying to be insecure, like, oh, I don't know how to do this. I do work pretty hard, and I want to give you a good experience, but things I will struggle with, for example, I don't know how strong you are with fluids. And fluids is very important for convection. And convection is the second mode of heat transfer. So, as I teach this more and more often, then maybe after 2 or 3 years, or maybe 2 years, I'll know, okay, so they don't remember this from fluids, so maybe I should record a video on it or just go over it like they have never seen it, and, things like that, okay? Second thing, what is the objective of this class? I may have mentioned this. I don't even remember what I said in class. I apologize. It'll get better. But my objective in this class is that if you ever see this in the future, did I say this? I have no idea. If you ever see heat transfer in the future, like in grad school or where you go to work or if you're going to do an internship, I don't want you to be afraid of it. Like, I know we forget most of what we see in classes. We just forget because we see so many different classes in undergrad and even grad school. So it's like if you ever encounter convection in the future, you'll be like, oh, I know how to do this. There's a guest again. Oh my god.
Bella tried to climb up, tried to reach the doorknob.
Bella.
Yes.
I'm almost done, mi amor. I love you.
I love you too.
Not you. Her. No, mi amor, please. Okay, you can say hi. Okay, so I just don't want you guys to be afraid of this, okay? But I don't want you to feel like you need to memorize. Of course, he's gonna show up. Baby, give me 1 second, 2 minutes. I don't want you to feel like you have to memorize anything or be an expert at this or, again, memorize any equations or boundary conditions or initial conditions or the equation for radiation. No, that's not, baby, stop. That's not the objective. The same way for thermal. For thermal, like, I did not expect you guys to learn conservation of energy equation or the second law or anything like that. Mi amor, just get out. Thank you. I love you.
Sorry, I love you.
Yeah. It was just like, if you ever encounter that in the future, conservation of energy or entropy or anything like that, then you're like, I'm not scared of this. I can do this because, it wasn't that bad of an experience when I took that class with that lady at UF. So similar thing with heat transfer. Like, how long has this been? 5 minutes. So similar thing. Like, the experience at UF recently, and this is no one's fault, right? But it's been like people are scared of the class. You know, the math is not trivial, and the equations are long and they seem very difficult. So when students leave the class, they feel like they don't want to deal with that again. They're you are very smart, but even if you know you're smart, you're like, I don't want to see that again. If I see heat transfer in a project later, hopefully someone else will do it. I won't do it. So that's what I don't want. I want you to feel like if you ever have to deal with that again, you won't be afraid of it and you'll be able to handle that. All right, so there was a third thing. Was that it? The objectives and say something. Oh yeah, third thing. What are we gonna do this semester? I wanted to say something like that today. I probably mentioned that on Wednesday anyway. We're gonna talk about heat transfer, obviously, and you saw heat transfer in thermal. You represent that with a Q. However, if you remember thermal, and if you don't, that's fine. We did not see equations for Q based on what was happening. We saw like Q minus W delta U, first law for closed systems. You remember that? But we didn't see like Q for conduction, convection, radiation, advection, a combination of conduction and convection. We didn't see any of that. We just used Q minus W delta U, but we didn't get an equation for Q based on what was happening. And that's what we're going to do here. That Q that we ignored the whole semester in thermal, now we're going to find equations for it based on what's happening, okay? Now the equations, they can look scary, but again, since you don't have to memorize that, you just have to, she's mocking me or imitating me. You have to just understand what each term represents. So we'll see three. First, baby, stop it. First, conduction. So if this is all you learn from this class, I am actually not that upset. Conduction, nothing is moving, okay? I'm going to should have gotten some props. I'm going to have heat transfer, all right, through a wall, like temperature, like high temperature here, low temperature here. So we're going to have heat transfer from high to low temperature. I don't know if I did that in the right direction, but nothing is moving. It's great. For convection, the second one, we have fluids that are moving. So if I have this and I want it to cool down, then I can blow on it. I'm not going to do it because then you guys are going to pause it and make fun of it. But if you have like a hot surface, not the phone, we don't want to get the phone wet, then you can cool it down either by exposing it to a fluid that's not moving, that's conduction, or to a fluid that's moving, like a fan. So you guys have probably heard about convection before, and that makes it cool down faster. So the fluid is moving. Fluid is gas or liquid. So again, conduction, not moving. Convection, moving. Radiation, everything, right? There's radiation from me to the room, from me to my many cats, from me to my daughter, from my daughter to everything, right? Radiation is always present, and unfortunately, it's a long word, we don't get to see a lot of radiation in the class, okay? We spend a long time with conduction. Again, remember conduction, not moving, convection, moving, and temperature difference. So we have heat transfer when we have high temperature, low temperature, just different temperatures, different temperature values. But we'll see this in class. You'll see that, again, conduction, it's a bunch of chapters, like 4 chapters, so we'll definitely see this. But I just want you guys to keep that in mind. You know, heat transfer, that Q that we've been ignoring for a bunch of classes. Now we don't ignore anymore. Now we need to figure out what's happening, and depending on what's happening, then we'll have a different equation, okay? And then the equations look ugly, but what we will do in this class, try to understand each term, because for no application out there, you need to memorize this, unless you're stuck in Mars and you had to, I should shut up before I come up with an example that I didn't think about before. So you don't have to memorize these things, okay? It's not like a movie where you have to save your life by remembering something you have to memorize in biology or heat transfer or something like that. No. When you go to work, you'll see these equations, you'll see different cases, and you have to figure out, you know, what term goes away? Is this steady state? Is it energy generation? What is happening? And that's what you will learn here, okay? If you watched this, thank you very much. If you didn't watch it, and no comment for you because you're not watching. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you.